100 years of my family history began here in Tiger Bay, Cardiff. This was the multicultural community that my grandfather Ducaale Mohammed came as a seaman in 1908. He was more than a seaman, he played a crucial role in the liberation of his homeland.
I describe him simply as the founding father of Somali politics in Cardiff and Wales, and maybe in Britain.
He was always a dignified person, very quiet, very calm, always polite, always spoke to you, hello, how are you? But you could see how the way he carried himself, that he had this dignity about him.
He spoke really in the measured tones of an academic, and he'd also improved his writing to a great extent, but not only English, but he'd also learnt to read and write French, because at the time he was really actively campaigning. French was the international language of diplomacy.
Ducaale was always active wherever he was. Whether he was in Cardiff or on a ship, he was always involved in the colonial struggle.
Ducaale wuxuu ka mid ahaa ragga runtii fahmay sida fiican u fahmay wixii socday, wuxuu ka qayb qaatay oo uu ugu horeeyay niman dhowr oo runtii fara ku tiirisa oo aad iyo dhaqdhaqaaq u sameeyay sidii ummadda Soomaaliyeed ay u heli lahayd dawlad ay iyagu leeyihiin oo u xoran yihiin.
This movement was the Somali Youth League, known as SYL, where Ducaale Mohammed was the head of the UK branch. SYL was officially established in Mogadishu in 1943, but evidence proves the movement existed in Cardiff in the mid-30s. During this time, Ducaale, along with the head of SYL, Abdullahi Isse, went to Paris and New York to present the Somali case at the United Nations.
That he was a much more politically conscious man, I think, although not the sort of man who thrust his opinions upon people.
Well, they reckoned these English people, Britain, British, called him a communist. But he wasn't a communist. Well, in one way he was, and one way he wasn't.
Due to his political activity, Ducaale became a subject of national security. This declassified letter from 1949 details his activities under the watchful eye of the British government. Despite this, Ducaale pursued and was able to see his homeland gain independence on the 26th of June 1960. He arrived in Aden, Yemen on the 21st of June en route to Somalia, but stayed there to give his moving poem, I Am Born Today, to the many Somalis residing there. Musician Hudaydi was also part of the celebration on that day.
laba gabay baa lagu soo dhaweeyay Soomaaliya calankeeda. gabayna Hargeysa ahaa Abdullahi Sultan Simcade, gabayna wuxuu ahaa ka Ducaale. gabayga uu tiriyay ma ahayn gabay la iska tiriyay oo caadi ah. Ducaale wuxuu ku soo tashaday gabayga calanka lagu saarayo inuu taago oo gabyo. gabaygina wuu yeeshay. markii quraanka la akhriyay ee laga baxay calanka waxa lagu saaray gabaygiisa.
He is one of the people, one of the few people, I think, like Mandela, who carried throughout his life the same beliefs without a hope of self-reward. He was working for his people, all his people.